I think they're a bit too pretty, I replied. Nothing's too pretty for a petticoated boy, she grinned as she took her seat. And how are your new shoes? She asked as she looked at my feet. Comfy? Yes, very, I replied as I put the catalogue down. Truth be told, they aren't that comfy, but at least my feet don't rattle inside them. Seen anything you like? My aunt asked, nodding towards the catalogue that rested beside me on the coffee table. I've not finished looking through it yet, I replied. Aunt Katinka suggested that I should put a circle around anything I do like the look of. It's easy to get overwhelmed with all the different things, she added as she picked up her crossword pen and passed it to me. As mentioned, I've come to know the difference between a suggestion and an instruction, so I took the pen and picked up the catalogue. Instead of quickly flicking through it as I'd already done, I felt obliged to peruse every page as my aunt half watched the TV and half watched me. I didn't feel at all comfortable as I circled the odd item, but knew that I probably wouldn't get away with circling nothing. After my nightly bath, Aunt Katinka put me into my nappy and I put myself into my baby doll nightie. My own pajamas have been put in the wash but haven't come out, so I have no option but to wear a nightie. I've been tempted to inquire as to the whereabouts of my pajamas, but I can guess what the answer would be: the bin, along with my socks and male undies. Back in the lounge, we sat and watched TV. Aunt Katinka asked me to pass her my catalogue. She sat and flicked through it, obviously looking to see which items I'd circled. You're a bit of a plain Jane, aren't you? She said with a smile as she turned the pages. There is something very pure about plain white underwear, she added. Oh, those French knickers are nice, she said, holding up the catalogue so I could see, and yes, I'd circled them. They're like boxer shorts, I said. Yes, I suppose they are a bit, my aunt replied, bearing a wry smile as she turned the catalogue toward herself. I like these frou-frou knickers too, she smiled as she pointed out the image on the adjacent page. They're far too girly, Auntie, I said with a gulp. Well, they would be if you were a real girl, William, she replied as she placed the catalogue on her lap. But as you know, nothing's too girly for a… My aunt paused and glared at me expectantly. I gulped, knowing what she expected of me. Petticoated boy, I meekly replied. I hung my head and looked at the frilly lace trim on the hem of my nightie. Just below this my matching frilly over knickers can be seen, so I straighten the hem to conceal them. In the corner of my eye I can see my aunt watching me and smiling. What? I asked. Nothing, she bashfully replied. I just think it's sweet when you do that, she said, making sure your nightie's nice and straight, she added. I was covering my knickers. I gulped. And making sure your nightie's nice and straight, she smiled.